my beautiful people, and welcome back to the classic Doctor Who vlogs. Today, we will be starting a look at a brand new serial, that being the 41st serial of the original series, which is The Web of Fear. Now, this is our first animated missing serial that we've done here on these vlogs so far. The previous serial we've taken a look at, the episode, half of the episodes were missing, but they weren't animated. This here, however, pretty much most, if not all, of the episodes of this serial, all five of the six episodes in the serial have been found, but episode 3 has not. So the BBC resorted to animating it, and thus this DVD with the brand new animation was released last year. So, yes, let's take a look at part 1 of The Web of Fear, simply titled Episode 1. This episode is about TARDIS landing in 1975 London, where these two Yeti-like creatures are on the loose, rampaging through the city while blasting things with a ray gun that shoots out this cobweb-looking thing. Hence the title of the serial, The Web of Fear. Before the TARDIS ended up landing, it ended up getting frozen in space and time for a little bit, and also malfunctioning, going haywire, before it eventually landed in London. Also, at the same time, there's also the army walking by, making sure everything's going all right. And there's also the scientists who we follow a little bit, who's sort of our main non-doctor, non-companion character for the serial at the moment, alongside her father, who's a very angry, paranoid, bitter old man. I actually did a little bit of research and figured out that this is actually a sequel to the 38th serial of the series, that being called The Abominable Snowman, I believe. It's on the Lost in Time DVD box set I have, along with a Web of Fear, but it doesn't have the animation in it, of course, because that Lost in Time DVD set was released in like 2002, and this DVD only came out last year. Halfway through the episode, the Doctor's companions get taken in by the British Army, and they're asked all these questions, and obviously they don't give them the right answers. Meanwhile, the Doctor is forced to face off against the two Yeti creatures with their little ray gun, and I'm curious to see how things will go for the Doctor in the next episode. Although I'm not a big fan of the new characters in this serial, the non-companion or Doctor characters, namely the scientist and her father, they're just not interesting to me. Like, the scientist doesn't really have much of a personality, and her father, well, does a little bit, not much. He's mostly just angry British man. That's it. Hopefully, with the 5 remaining episodes to come in this arc, I can enjoy these characters. One thing I did like were the Yetis themselves. I thought they were a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, they looked absolutely terrible. Like, they look much cooler in this drawing on the DVD, but in the episode themselves, they look terrible. But keep in mind, this episode came out in 1968, so obviously it's gonna look like crap. But it reminds me so much of a 1950s B movie, which really Doctor Who is essentially a, a low budget B movie for television, but with the ray beam, with the beams, with the blasters and all that stuff, it just gave me that old school science fiction vibes that I just love. It's cheesy and stupid. That stuff's a lot of fun, which I could probably see why Doctor Who caught on, because it was so fun and stupid out of the gate, based on what I've seen of it. But Anyway, guys, that'll be it for this video.
I've been a little under the weather lately, but my phone just went off, which is why we won't be seeing my face in a few videos for a while. But anyway, we are back with the classic Doctor Who vlogs, and we are taking a look at episode 2 of The Web of Fear. Now, this episode is a little bit interesting because the Doctor is actually not. In this episode, we instead follow his companions throughout the entire episode, and it was an interesting watch, I'll say that. His companions are basically explaining the whole thing to the army, and they even have a nice little reunion with the scientist, who is much older than the last time they saw him, because it takes place 40 years after that last story. And we also follow various different soldiers trying to fight off the Yetis, while also investigating the fungus that is with the Yetis. And meanwhile, Victoria, I believe her name is trying to find the Doctor. So, not a whole lot happens in this episode. It's mostly just a bunch of talking and exploring, but some fun stuff does happen. Namely, when Victoria is talking to the scientist's daughter about time travel in the TARDIS, and the daughter thinks that the Doctor is a bad guy, and the scientist is like, "What? No, I saw the Doctor beat those Yetis 40 years ago. He's a good guy." And the Yetis still look stupid, but as I mentioned in the last vlog, it's fun type of stupid in a B-movie type of sense, and it was a good episode, I'd say. So if I sound exhausted while recording this, is because I am exhausted. The Oscars happened last night. I still haven't seen the Oscars, but I've seen this. Oh, man. Oh. You know, is this it? Is this all it takes for content? All I gotta do to make good content for you guys is to just sit down, turn on the microphone, hit record, just ramble on my thoughts on a piece of media. Because I did the exact same thing with my Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey review, and that got like 350 views. Meanwhile, all the content I put effort into doesn't get actual views. This is just a filler video. Who knows? Maybe this will get, I don't know, 10,000 views and become the biggest video on this channel. The episode was good. I'm starting to like these companions a little bit. They're fun to be around. I mean, when you have an entire episode that doesn't feature the Doctor at all, you kind of have to get used to the companions. But yeah, I do think they have the capabilities to carry an entire episode on their own, and this is proof of that. Now, I don't know if the next episode will feature the Doctor or not. We're just going to have to wait and see until next time. But if any other episodes in this arc or any other episodes in the future will just consist of these companions, I will be okay with that, because they seem to carry an episode perfectly fine just by themselves, as evident with this. So, Episode 2 of The Web of Fear is a pretty good one. I definitely would recommend you check it out, along with part 1, of course. So, to make a long story short, I ended up recording a video which was a Doctor Who vlog on the episode The Web of Fear, episode 3, which was an animated resurrection. But while I was recording it, my laptop, which is a PC, just completely shut off. And I ended up losing all of my data on that video because PCs stand for piece of crap. So, to summarize, that's basically what happened. And I don't really feel like re-recording absolutely everything I just said because that was an off-the-cuff first reaction vlog, and that wouldn't really work if I decided to re-record everything and all that crap. So, what I decided to do instead was just do this. This actually happened last year with the first installment of the Key and Peele vlogs, but in that instance, the audio of the video wasn't working. The video was just fine. But anyway, to summarize, I didn't like the animation. It looked good in stills and in color, but in motion and in black and white, it did not look good. I watched the black and white version of this episode, by the way. But the episode itself was a pretty fun time. This kind of sucks. I actually had a lot to say about this episode, but, oh well. Today we shall be continuing our look at the Web of Power. It's not Web of Power, it's Web of Fear. And today we'll be looking at episode 4 of the Web of Fear. This episode mainly consists of the British Army having a big old fight against the Yetis, in which the Yetis actually succeed. And that's a good portion of the episode, mainly the second half. The first half is mostly due to the Doctor wanting the British Army to go get the TARDIS back, because they have the TARDIS somewhere, and the TARDIS is locked up somewhere. Doctor wants the TARDIS back because that's his thing. And naturally, they're skeptical that his device is a police box. Obviously, the highlight of this episode is the battle between the British Army and the Yetis. Very, very cheaply made, obviously. TV budget in the 1960s, but definitely a fun and suspenseful fight regardless. These episodes are just consistently getting fun. That's the one consistent thing within all of these episodes that I've seen thus far in this arc, and even a little bit of the previous arc I covered, is that they are fun. These are very fun episodes, and this is a very fun series. The bit with the tracking device I feel is fairly interesting and very suspenseful, especially towards the end of the episode. So yeah, this is a fairly fun installment in the saga and in this arc, and with that ending, which revealed the Yetis bursting through the headquarters with the Professor, I'm definitely intrigued to see where it will go in the penultimate episode of this arc. I know this was a bit of a short one. It's getting rather late. I kind of want to go to bed, but just want to give my quick thoughts on that episode. And
today we shall be taking a look at the penultimate episode to the Web of Fear, that being the Web of Fear, episode 5. The episode begins where the last one left off. We see the Doctor and company being invaded by a bunch of Yetis, along with the Great Intelligence invading the body and the mind of the Professor. The Great Intelligence in the Professor's body kidnaps Victoria. So the other companions and the crew go and stop them and try to stop the other Yetis and co. Meanwhile, the Doctor is working on a device that can control the Yetis. Clearly getting into Climax Town, things are starting to build up to the big epic fight, or as close as to an epic fight as they can do in a low budget science fiction show in the 60s, but it's clearly building up to the final episode of this arc, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Really enjoyed my time with Victoria and the Doctor plots. Those were fun. Those were interesting. Uh, Watching the Doctor invent stuff will always be a fun time. I wasn't a big fan of the other companions' plot in the episode. It was kind of lame in my opinion. I didn't like it that much. Yeah, I really didn't like that plot with the other companion where there's this one army guy who thinks that he's working with the great intelligence, but we all know that's not the case because we've seen this guy over the past several episodes in the last couple seasons. So this guy is just looking like some paranoid dick. Just trust the guy, man. Just trust him already. God, it's annoying. That plot is really my only gripe with this episode. Uh, for the most part, I really enjoyed it. This is another really good episode. This has been a pretty good arc altogether. I very much enjoyed just about everything about this arc, and hopefully it will come to a satisfying end next time. So please be sure to join us next time where we will take a look at the spine tingling conclusion of this storyline with episode 6. But anyway, guys, the conclusion of the Web of Fear. It's the big final battle between the Doctor, the companions, the army, and the intelligence. Worded that wrong. The Doctor, his companions, and the army versus the intelligence. We get to see the Doctor at where he left off in the last episode, that is controlling the Yeti robots, finding a way to control the Yeti robots, and also giving that way to control the robots to Jamie. And Jamie also figured out how to control them. And yeah. And figuring out how to control the Yetis definitely comes in handy by the time the climax comes in the episode. A large mystery that's been building in the last couple episodes is who, in fact, is the intelligence. And the intelligence is actually not revealed who it is. He's simply just been inhabiting another soldier who we've seen throughout the past few episodes. And sadly, when they defeat the intelligence, he does, in fact, die in the process. Now, the way they defeat the intelligence is actually kind of interesting because they don't actually defeat him. Doctor had his own specific way that he wanted to defeat the intelligence, that being sort of forming an alliance with him and having him get in this machine, but Doctor ended up switching the wires, which would ended up killing the intelligence with mumbo jumbo sciencey goo. But Jamie ended up screwing that up because he thought that the Doctor was going to die. So he ended up controlling the Yetis to fight each other, which ended up destroying the machine in the process, freeing the Doctor, but also killing the intelligence in his human form. Which that only stopped the intelligence from conquering Earth. He is still out there in space. The Doctor's plan would have just flat out killed the intelligence. But thanks to Jamie, the intelligence is still out there. And I did look it up. The intelligence does make future appearances in Doctor Who. Wouldn't make a return for another 45 years in the 11th Doctor arc, The Snowman, but he still showed up. The episode definitely does have a very fun climax at the end, very nice, and definitely opens the room up for the intelligence to return in the future, which he eventually does in future arcs within the Revival series. Overall, I really did enjoy this episode. It was a pretty good finale to this arc, and overall, Doctor Who, The Web of Fear. I had an absolute joyride watching this. This is the first time I've ever finished a classic Doctor Who arc. Now that I've watched an arc from beginning to end, I can definitely see the appeal on why Doctor Who became as successful as it did, because it is a very fun, cheesy sci-fi good time. It definitely has the B movie feel. It is a lot of fun. It has very bad special effects, but you could say that adds to the charm. All the actors have charm, especially the actor portraying the Doctor, and it's just a lot of fun overall. And this arc is definitely reflective of that. All the actors are good. These Yeti costumes look terrible, but it adds to the fun. It's just a fun time. I would highly recommend you giving Doctor Who: The Web of Fear a look. I managed to watch this arc on the DVD release that was released last year in 2022. That does feature the animated third episode. You can also find the special in the Lost of Time DVD box set. However, the third episode is not in fact animated, it is just an audio file like the previous arc we covered but never finished. So those are the ways you can watch it. You can also stream it on BritBox and rent it on Amazon. But anyway, guys, that will be it for this video. What do you guys think of it? And what do you guys think of the entire Web of Fear arc? Please let me know down in the comments below. And also, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified on when future videos are uploaded. And if you guys want me to talk about any other Doctor Who arcs, classic Doctor Who arcs in particular, and in particular, ones that do have lost animated reconstruction episodes, please let me know. I still have the rest of this box set to go through, and Barnes and Noble always has a good selection of classic Doctor Who DVDs, and sometimes FYE has them too. Sometimes they will be a little bit overpriced, but never too out of the ordinary in terms of DVD prices. But please let me know what you guys would like to see. But until then, I will see you later. Bye!